Hey guys, we love celebrating what God has done in the life of the church, sharing testimonies. We have had an amazing year, and I'd love to share with you some of the testimonies of what God's done. Firstly, we had Megan's friend was healed after a stroke following surgery. Ethan and Jamal saw a guy get saved in Doveton. Mark and DJ prayed for a friend's back who they play sport with, and he was healed. Dave prayed for a lady over the phone and also prayed for freedom for fear from a customer who had been assaulted. Elisha's back was healed during one of our prayer times. Chantel prayed for a newly saved man on the streets to be set free from alcoholism. And then they danced on the word joy that had been written over the pavement. And the man was so overwhelmed, he began to declare, I'm free, I'm free. Hans Halema had prayer for his leukemia, and it improved so much that his chemotherapy was canceled. Gabby and Chantel prayed over a lady in the food court who had a crushing weight on her chest, and healing and peace came immediately. Louise got to lead Deb to Jesus, and she was filled with the Holy Spirit. Ethan led a guy to Jesus and baptized him in a mud puddle at a bush stoof. Michaela and Alicia brought food to bless a homeless guy, and they got to pray with him. Simon had the opportunity through his work and his connections to share in front of a class about his faith and overcoming anxiety and suicidal thoughts. A student who was a Christian in the class approached him and asked to stay in contact with another Christian who's in the sphere of science. Gabby and I got to lead a couple to Jesus on the streets. Seppo got to lead a friend of his that he hadn't seen in a long time to Jesus, also on the streets. Ethan led a guy to Jesus on the streets after sharing his testimony from the microphone. Jeremy got to share hope with a different guy at a train station. Ryan, Aiden, and Jenna prayed for a guy whose hand was locked shut since 1970 and his fingers began to open. Amy Kurzinga had an incredible testimony of healing, and she also got to pray with her brother after a workplace incident and a number of surgeries, and his toe was healed. Seppo led his friend Jared to Jesus. Yvette had long-lasting pain in her hip and had tried medicine, physio, and chiro, but nothing helped until Monica prayed for her, and she's been pain-free ever since. Gabby got to pray with a lady and see her set free from demonic oppression and torment. Chantel saw a Muslim lady she'd been discipling give her life to Jesus. We got to give out soup and pray for people on the streets and bless people with gifts. Louise prayed for a lady who had lost her husband, and the lady experienced the Holy Spirit and said that she had an amazing peace that came over her. Louise in the Philippines got to pray for a taxi driver whose hand was healed. She also got to lead Bella to Jesus at the airport in the Philippines. Jeremy prayed for a workmate who was set free from anxiety and fear. Caleb and Stephen led a person to Jesus on the streets at an outreach. Jason was healed. Louisa's shoulder was healed after 20 years of being injured. Jeremy prayed for a lady at Woolworths with a broken thumb, and then he didn't see her until the next day, but the next day her thumb was healed. Henry's sprained ankle was totally healed after being prayed for at church, and he left the meeting without having to use crutches. Paul Bremer got a job after people had prayed. Deej got to pray for a client with stage 4 cancer. Lewis and Henry prayed for a lady with cancer at the markets and gave out a number of flowers. Sharon prayed for her nephew after suffering nightmares, and peace came straight away. Sam got to share Jesus with the guy at St. Kilda after one of our youth nights, and they got to lead him to Jesus. Jeremy prayed for a Muslim client's shoulder, and it felt better a short while later. Jeremy's friend also got saved. Joey and I got to pray for a man on the streets, and over about a half an hour saw some radical deliverance take place. Leanna prayed for a lady's shoulder in the supermarket, and her shoulder was healed. And then because of that, she got to pray for the guy at the checkout whose hand was in pain because he saw her pray for the lady. We've seen heaps of deliverances this year. We've seen baptisms. We sent teams to other churches and to the nations, and we've seen people rave about Jesus. These are just some of the testimonies. I want to encourage you to put your faith out for more this year in 2023.